Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission today is pretty laser focused. We're taking the glossy, sun-drenched image of a very famous Caribbean island and, well, holding it up to the light.
We're diving deep into Aruba, the place that famously calls itself one happy island.
That's the one. And, when you start looking for a safe, easy, sunny getaway, Aruba just keeps coming up. It's always at the top of the list.
It really does. All our sources paint this picture of perfect weather, these immaculate beaches. But the real tension we need to explore for you, the traveler, is whether that perfection is, genuine island life.
Or something else.
Or if it's a perfectly manicured, maybe slightly artificial experience that's built just for tourists.
Exactly. Our job here is to give you that shortcut to get you really well informed about the place. We need to cut through the marketing and answer that one big question. Is Aruba a true Caribbean escape? Or is it, like one source put it, just Vegas on the beach?
Which is such a loaded phrase, isn't it? It implies something high volume, highly manufactured.
It really does. So let's unpack that. We'll start with the logistics, specifically this unique custom situation that makes travel so smooth.
Then we have to tackle the big accommodation showdown. High-rise versus the low-rise vacation. It's a fundamental choice.
After that, we'll get into the food, which is surprisingly unique. There's this rich Dutch heritage there that most people don't expect.
And finally, we have to explore the island's wild side. The stuff that, really requires you to get up off that beach lounger and go explore.
Okay, let's start where I think most travel anxiety lives. The logistics.
Yeah.
Getting there and getting back.
Right. And this is an area where Aruba has very consciously designed the whole process to be as stress-free as possible. It's a huge selling point, especially if you're a first-time international traveler.
We're talking about flying into Queen Beatrix International Airport, AUA.
And what's really interesting is how our sources all point to the efficiency there. It's not just a modern airport, it's like remarkably smooth.
So it's not that chaotic multi-hour ordeal you sometimes get.
Not at all. It immediately removes that huge psychological barrier. They've basically designed the airport to be the first step in your relaxation, not, another hurdle to overcome.
And a big part of that is just how easy it is to get there in the first place. The flight options.
Oh, the accessibility is fantastic. Because of its history with the Kingdom of the Netherlands and its popularity with Americans, there are just tons of direct flights.
Especially with the East Coast, right?
The entire U.S. East Coast, plus major hubs like Chicago, Dallas, and crucially, there are these very strong direct routes from Amsterdam, which makes it a really solid option for European travelers, too.
But there's this other thing, this one logistical advantage that our sources just rave about, especially for Americans.
Ah, yes. The pre-clearance. This is the real game changer.
Explain what that means. It's about clearing U.S. customs.
In Aruba. Before you even get on the plane to go home.
I mean, that has to be the single greatest anti-stress measure a destination can offer.
Oh, it's a total game changer.
Right. Think about it. The usual end of a vacation is you land back in the States, you're tired, and then you're immediately stuck in a 2-hour line for immigration. It's the worst.
It's the worst possible ending. But with this system, you go through all the U.S. immigration and customs procedures at the Aruba airport.
So you need to budget a little extra time at AUA on the way out.
You do. It's a full, rigorous process. But once you land back in the United States, you're treated like a domestic passenger. You just grab your bags and walk straight out.
No lines.
No lines. It completely eliminates that final bottleneck. Your vacation truly ends when you get home, not when you're standing in a queue at the airport.
The value of that, especially if you're traveling with kids or, trying to squeeze in one last day, it's just immense.
It's a core feature of their tourism product. But okay, once you've had that smooth arrival, you hit your next big decision: how to get around.
The great debate. Taxi versus a rental car.
And the sources present two, almost philosophical arguments here. It really depends on what kind of trip you want.
Okay, I'll take team convenience. If your whole goal is, I'm here to relax, I don't want to think, then the taxi argument's pretty strong.
Especially if you're staying in the main tourist area.
Right. If you're in the Palm Beach or Eagle Beach corridor, taxis are everywhere. And they use fixed rates, which is a huge deal.
Yes, no anxiety about a running meter in traffic. You know the price before you get in. It makes budgeting so much easier.
Exactly. And from the big hotels there, you can walk to dozens of restaurants and shops. So why bother with parking and driving?
That is a totally valid choice. But let me ask a counterpoint. Does that fixed rate system maybe discourage drivers from taking you to the smaller, more out-of-the-way local spots?
That's a sharp question. If your goal is to find a hidden gem like, say, Zerover's, The convenience of the taxi system starts to get a little bit complicated.
Right, and that's where the other philosophy comes in, team freedom. The argument that a rental car isn't just nice, it's non-negotiable.
Because the island, while small, has its best secrets spread out.
Absolutely. To really break out of what some call the tourist bubble, you need your own wheels to see
Hmm.
the rugged East Coast, or find a little secluded beach, or go down to Baby Beach on your own
You
schedule.
don't want to be tied to a tour bus schedule or trying
Yeah.
to find a taxi in some remote spot where there are none.
The freedom to just pack a cooler and go wherever you want for a few hours, that's priceless for a certain type of traveler.
And this choice then leads to another one, what kind of car to get.
Exactly. For just, running to the supermarket or driving between the main hotel zones, a little sedan is perfectly fine. It's actually easier to park.
But, and this is a huge but, Arikok National Park.
Yes, we have to stress this. If you plan to go deep into Arikok, a Jeep or a 4x4 isn't just a good idea, it's pretty much required.
Why, though? What's the terrain like that makes it so necessary?
The sources describe it as almost lunar. It's unpaved, it's volcanic rock, it's got these deep ruts and dusty, loose soil. A normal car just doesn't have the ground clearance.
You get stuck.
You will damage the car, and you will probably get stuck, especially on the trail to the natural pool. So the decision is simple. If Arikok is on your list, you have to budget for the 4x4 and book it way in advance, especially in high season.
Okay, so the choice for you, the listener, is really clear. Max convenience in the hotel zone. Taxis are fine. Independent exploration and the wild side of the island. A rental car is essential.
And that very choice, convenience versus exploration, it leads us right into our next section because it's the exact same logic behind where you choose to sleep. The high-rise versus low-rise showdown.
This really defines the Aruban vacation, doesn't it? You're choosing one of two totally different environments.
A completely different rhythm for your trip. Let's start with the high-rise experience. This is all concentrated around Palm Beach.
And when we say high-rise, we mean it. This is where you find the huge international brands. The Marriott, the Hyatt, the Hilton.
By design, this is the high-energy, vibrant heart of all the action. It's where things are happening, 24/7.
The sources describe this perpetual buzz. This is where you find the nightlife, the clubs, the casinos.
And the casino part is key to that Vegas on the beach metaphor. You've got these bright flashing lights, hundreds of slot machines right across the street from the ocean.
And there's a boardwalk that connects everything, right? So you can just walk from your hotel to a shop, to a restaurant, to a bar.
Exactly. If you want action and endless options and you want to feel like you're in the middle of a sort of continuous party, Palm Beach is for you. But it comes with a huge trade-off.
Density.
Yes. The density is unavoidable. You have all these massive hotels packed into a relatively small strip of land.
Which means the beach itself, while beautiful, gets crowded.
Very crowded. The sources talk about this intense competition for beach space, especially for the palapas, the little thatched umbrellas.
Is it true people have to get up before dawn to reserve a spot?
It is. Guests often have to queue up super early just to put their towel down for the day. That's the price you pay for being in the middle of everything.
Okay, so now let's shift gears completely. Let's go to the low-rise sanctuary, which is mostly on Eagle Beach.
And the vibe here is the polar opposite. The entire focus is on tranquility and space.
So these are smaller hotels.
Much smaller. More boutique-style places, a lot of timeshares, and they're generally only 3 or 4 stories tall. That height limit is intentional. It keeps the population density way down.
And the whole atmosphere is quieter.
Serene, relaxing. The priority is just quiet time on the beach. There are way fewer casinos. The nightlife is much more subdued. Maybe a quiet hotel bar instead of a thumping club.
And the beach itself, Eagle Beach is the famous one, right?
It's legendary, consistently voted one of the best beaches in the world. It is much, much wider than Palm Beach, so you have these vast stretches of open space.
And the sand is different.
The sources all describe it as being like powdered sugar. It's incredibly fine and soft. You can almost always find a quiet spot for yourself without feeling like you're on top of your neighbors.
And this is where you find those iconic trees.
The Foodie trees, yes. The 2 famous ones you see on all the postcards, permanently bent sideways from the constant trade winds. They really symbolize the natural, windswept beauty of that whole area.
So the choice for the listener it's really about personality, isn't it?
Absolutely. Constant energy and options. And you don't mind a crowd. Go to Palm Beach. You want quiet, space, and pure relaxation where all you hear is the ocean. Eagle Beach is the clear winner.
You mentioned timeshares are big in the low-rise area. What does that mean for a traveler?
It's an important detail. A lot of those properties are suites or condos, not just hotel rooms, so they often have kitchenettes or full kitchen.
Ah, which helps with the food budget.
It can significantly cut down on the high cost of dining in Aruba, which we'll get to. It allows you to have a longer, more self-sufficient, and often cheaper vacation, especially for a family.
And we should probably mention the third option, which is more for the adventurer.
The vacation rentals, right.
Yeah.
Renting a villa or an apartment in a neighborhood like Nord, which is just inland.
This is for someone who really wants to get out of the resort system entirely.
It is. You feel less like a tourist and more like a local. It's often much more affordable, too. But the trade-off is you need to be totally self-sufficient.
You need that rental car.
You absolutely need the rental car for everything. Groceries, restaurants, getting to the beach.
Yeah.
You're swapping resort amenities for privacy and a taste of local life.
All right, let's talk about food, because this is where Aruba, I think, really surprises people.
It really does. People think Caribbean, they think, I don't know, generic resort food. But the culinary scene here is so unique and sophisticated, and it's all tied to its history.
That Dutch influence is huge. It's this fascinating cultural fusion.
And the one dish, the absolute must-try national dish, is kishiena.
We have to break this down. It translates to what? Stuffed cheese.
That's right. And it is the definition of savory, rich comfort food. It starts with a big, hollowed-out ball of cheese, almost always Gouda.
And the Gouda is the key to the history, right?
Right. It is. Under Dutch rule, Gouda was one of the only hard cheeses that could survive the long sea voyage, so it became a staple on the island. That history is literally baked into the dish.
So you have this shell of Gouda cheese.
Yeah.
What's it stuffed with?
A really flavorful mix of shredded meat, chicken, beef, sometimes seafood, that's cooked with things like capers, raisins, onions, and spices. It gives it this amazing sweet and savory profile.
And you bake the whole thing.
You bake it or steam it until the cheese is just perfectly melted. I mean, finding and trying keshiena is non-negotiable if you want to experience the real culture.
Okay, so that sounds incredible, but also incredibly rich. What about something lighter for a snack?
For that, you have to try pastecchi. They're these little deep-fried pastries, kind of like an empanada. They're the perfect street food.
What are they filled with?
All the classic stuff. Cheese, beef, tuna. You find them at little local snack shacks and bakeries. They're cheap, they're delicious, and they're the quintessential Aruban beach snack.
And what about side dishes? The sources mention a couple of key ones to look out for.
Yes, you have to try funchi, or pan body. Funchi is basically like a cornmeal mush, very similar to polenta. It's a savory side for stews and fish.
And pan body.
Pan body is a little different. It's a slightly sweet cornflour flatbread, almost like a pancake. They're both essential to the local palate, a world away from French fries.
Now, there's one mandatory seafood stop that everyone talks about. It requires leaving the tourist strip.
You have to go to Zerover's.
Tell me about it. It's down in Savanetta, right?
Right. It's the real no-frills local fisherman's wharf. And the key is there's no menu.
No menu. So how do you order?
You just line up at the window, and they show you what the boats brought in that day. It could be snapper, wahoo, shrimp. You just point at what you want, and you pay for it by weight.
It's true. Dock to table.
As real as it gets. Then they fry everything up fresh and serve it to you in a basket with some funchi and pickled onions. And the atmosphere. You're eating on these rustic wooden decks right over the water, watching the fishing boats. It's fantastic.
But let's talk about the price point for a minute, because Zerover's sounds affordable, but what about the rest of the island?
This is a really important warning for anyone budgeting their trip. Aruba is not a cheap place to eat. Dining out can be surprisingly expensive, very similar to prices in a major U.S. or European city.
That's crucial context. People might expect lower prices. But the sources do say the quality is really high, right? World-class steakhouses, these romantic toes-in-the-sand places.
The quality is definitely there, but you pay a premium for it, especially for the ambiance.
So what's the strategy then? How do you enjoy the food scene without, breaking the bank?
I think you have to be smart about it. One way is to have your big meal at lunch. A lot of the fancy places have cheaper lunch specials.
And using those kitchenettes we talked about.
Yes. Make your own breakfast, pack your own lunch for the beach, and actively seek out the local snack shacks for cheap, delicious stuff like the pastecchi. Don't eat every single meal in the tourist corridor.
And before we move on, the local beer.
You have to try Balashi. It's the local Pilsner. It's light, it's crisp, it's perfect for the heat, and it's a simple way to support the local economy and save a few bucks.
Okay, we know how to get there, where to stay, what to eat. Now let's get off the beach lounger and talk about adventure.
And this is where that 4x4 rental becomes absolutely essential. We're heading into Aruba National Park.
Which is huge, right? It covers something like 20% of the whole island.
It's massive, and the landscape inside the park is so dramatically different from the resort area. It feels like you've landed on another planet.
Describe that landscape. What makes it so different?
It's not white sand and palm trees. It's a rugged, semi-arid desert. You've got giant cacti, dusty trails, and this wild, crashing coastline made of volcanic rock.
And the best way to see it is not by hiking.
No, the recommended way is by UTV or ATV. The whole experience is sold as a thrill ride. You're kicking up dust, scrambling over rocks, exploring these ancient Arawak cave paintings. It's an adventure.
And the main destination, the crown jewel of the park, is the natural pool.
Conchi, yes. It's this incredible geological formation. It's a swimming hole that's protected from the violent ocean by this huge circle of volcanic rock.
So it creates this calm little oasis in the middle of all that chaos.
Exactly. It's stunning. But, and we have to give this caution, the journey to get there is rough.
This is the 4x4 part.
This is the 4x4 part. You cannot take a regular car. And even with a Jeep, it's a challenging drive. And there's another safety warning.
What's that?
Yeah, you have to check the surf conditions before you go. If the waves are too high, they can crash over that rock barrier and it becomes really dangerous to swim in the pool. Sometimes they close it entirely.
Okay, good to know. Let's shift from the land to the water. The snorkeling and diving.
The water clarity in Aruba is exceptional, and there's one site that is an absolute must-see, the SS Antilla shipwreck.
Now, this has a pretty incredible backstory, doesn't it?
It's fascinating. It was a German freighter from World War II. In 1940, when Germany invaded the Netherlands, the Dutch military here in Aruba ordered the German crew to surrender the ship.
And they refused.
They refused. Instead, they scuttled it. They deliberately sank the massive ship to keep it from falling into enemy hands.
And it's still there, one of the biggest wrecks in the Caribbean.
It is a 400-foot ship lying on its side. And what makes it so great for visitors is that it's in relatively shallow water.
So you don't have to be a master scuba diver to see it.
Not at all. Because the water is so clear and parts of the wreck are only about 30 feet down, even snorkelers can get an amazing view of the whole thing. It's incredibly accessible.
Okay, now we have to address the elephant in the room. Or, I guess, the flamingo on the beach.
Yes. The famous pink birds that launched 1,000 Instagram posts. We need a serious reality check here.
This is not something you're just going to stumble upon while walking down the beach.
Not even close. These photos are all taken on Renaissance Island, which is a private island owned by the Renaissance Hotel.
So you can't just go there.
Access is heavily restricted. You either have to be a guest at that specific hotel, or you have to try and buy one of the very limited and very expensive day passes.
And they sell out instantly, I hear.
They do. You have to get there at the crack of dawn to even have a chance. And here's the most important detail.
The flamingos aren't native.
They are not native to Aruba. They were brought there. They live in a managed environment, and they're basically there as a photo op.
It's a manufactured experience.
It is, and it really brings up that question for the listener. Is getting that one photo worth the cost and the effort, knowing it's not a wild, authentic encounter? It perfectly encapsulates the two sides of Aruba, the wild, like Arikok, and the perfectly curated, like Renaissance Island.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground. Before we get to the final verdict, let's try to wrap all this up into an overall vibe for the island, and maybe what people should actively skip.
Okay. I think when you strip it all away, the overwhelming vibe of Aruba is easy and reliable. It is arguably one of the most stress-free international trips you can take.
And that ease is built on really solid infrastructure, isn't it?
Fantastic infrastructure. The US dollar is accepted everywhere. English is spoken universally. These things really lower the barrier for nervous travelers.
And what about the slogan, "One Happy Island"? Does it feel true?
You know, the sources say it really does. The local people are known for being incredibly friendly and welcoming, and you combine that with a real sense of political stability and safety in the main tourist areas.
And the weather. We can't forget the weather.
You can't. It's basically guaranteed perfection. It's outside the hurricane belt, and those constant trade winds mean it never feels oppressively hot. It's just pleasant.
So all of that predictability leads you to call it what?
Caribbean with training wheels. And I mean that as a compliment for a specific type of traveler. It's clean, it's organized, it's safe. It's a phenomenal choice for a first-timer or a big multi-generational family trip.
There's always a but. That reliability comes with a trade-off, doesn't it? What does the island lack because it's so organized?
It lacks that raw, unpredictable edge you might find on other less developed islands. The authentic culture is there, but you have to go looking for it. It's not just going to happen to you by the resort pool. You have to intentionally break out of the bubble.
That's a great way to put it. So let's help people break out of that bubble. What's one thing they can safely skip to make more time for the good stuff?
I would say skip spending too much time shopping in Orangestad, especially when a cruise ship is in port.
Why is that?
It just gets incredibly crowded, and most of the shops are high-end luxury stores you can find anywhere in the world. Your time is so much better spent in Arikok or just relaxing on Eagle Beach.
I totally agree. My skip would be the big American chain restaurants on the Palm Beach Strip.
Ah, that can be a comfort zone for people.
It can, but you didn't fly all that way to eat at a place you could find at home. You have to make the effort to find the local gems we talked about.
That's a fair point, but let me play devil's advocate. What if you have, really picky kids or serious dietary restrictions? Isn't the safety of a chain sometimes necessary?
It can be. Yeah. But I'd argue that even then, you can find local restaurants that cater to international tastes without being a generic U.S. chain. The goal should be to minimize those, not rely on them.
A balanced approach. Okay, I think we're ready for the final summation.
It's time. The final verdict on One Happy Island. Is it worth it?
My verdict is a confident, resounding yes. It is absolutely worth it, but with one huge condition.
And what's that?
You have to know what you're looking for. If you want a beautiful, safe, relaxing vacation with perfect weather and great food, it's one of the best choices on the planet.
But there's a condition that unlocks that best version of the trip. The one that avoids the Vegas on the beach trap.
The condition is definitive. You must rent a car for at least a few days and leave the resort bubble. Period. To experience the island's real character, Arikok, Zerovers, the Antilla wreck, you have to have that freedom of movement.
I agree 100%. If you just stay in the high-rise zone, your experience will feel commercialized. For me, Aruba is one of the world's best, guaranteed to be great destinations. It delivers exactly what it promises.
It really does. Guaranteed good weather, guaranteed safety, and an organization level that just removes all the friction from travel.
So there you have it. Aruba delivers on the happiness and the beautiful beaches as long as you're willing to put in a little effort to find the culture that exists just beyond the resorts.
And that wraps up our deep dive.
It does. But before we go, we always like to leave you with one final thought to mull over.
And for this one, I think it comes back to that trade-off. We've established that Aruba is one of the most reliably perfect vacation spots because of its safety and organization.
So the question for you to consider is,
Given that perfection, what elements of that raw, unpredictable edge that other destinations have might the island be missing? And is that trade-off guaranteed relaxation versus, say, cultural unpredictability worth it for your personal travel style?
a fantastic question to leave us with. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.